believe, because what we do is we want to change ourselves for better. I think I am not okay, I want to become better. Similarly here also, I want to change my mind, my way of thinking. When I am thinking in a certain fashion, I feel this thinking is not good. So I meditate, I concentrate, I go on doing some mental exercise and meditation, long period. So at the end of it, I feel there is change in me. I become a new man. My thinking is different. I am better than what I am. So I always do things so that I better myself. In that way, after some meditation, after some years or whatever it is, how do you feel like at that time? I have achieved something. I am a better man than what I was. I have learned something. So how it will affect a man's life if his thinking improves by meditation? And what is the effect of meditation on our mind? Whether our mind it becomes better thinking or what?
This title will tell you everything you need to know.
I see. So I thought that way.
I cannot answer your question with something that's going to be conceptual. There's no answer to that question.
That's all right.
Because the nature of your question actually has the answer. You have to discover it for yourself.
That is that idea.
The notion of journey without a goal is that you go on a journey without expecting a goal. And it is in the process of the journey that you actually discover these things. But to quantify it and qualify it is again using the conceptual mind to try to come up with something to satisfy my curiosity as to why I would do it in the first place. But that is self-defeating. In order to want to do it, you have to do it. In some ways we can say, and actually it's a very important point to make, that we won't go on a journey of meditation or mindfulness or any kind of spiritual quest unless we're hurting enough.
Wow, that's right. Unless we're unsettled enough.
Yeah.
We
might have to be hurting enough. We might have to be in pain enough. Something has to fall apart. Something has to actually break in our lives. Some concept of the world that we believe in doesn't fit anymore. And then we say, okay, my concept, my world that I've created, that I've set up, doesn't make sense anymore. In fact, the Buddha talked about this, that when he first started to teach, some of his first students that came to him were murderers, or actually some of the worst people. And there's a great story about his childhood friend that came to him and said, I've heard so many great things about you, now you're an enlightened being, and I wish I could go on this journey and I could actually follow you, but ever since the time I knew you when I was a child, I've become a bandit, I've murdered people, I'm a horrible human being, I cannot even get any peace in my mind. And to that, the Buddha said, you're ready.
This is because Buddha said, he went on meditating for a long time. His greatest, he got enlightenment, as it is called. After enlightenment, he said to the world, enlightenment is not so important. But the process of enlightenment, from zero to enlightenment, that process is very good. Because he enjoyed the struggle to get the enlightenment. He says, enlightenment is not important, the struggle itself is important, and the struggle gives him greater happiness and the enlightenment itself. Therefore, he said, without any goal. He goes on struggling forever. I don't want enlightenment, because he feels enjoying the struggle for the enlightenment. So this he made, one lesson he made to everybody, don't stop after enlightenment. Enlightenment is not the goal in life, or it is not an end. Here there is no end. What matters is not the goal. You are struggling from zero to enlightenment, that struggle which you make, that gives me maximum satisfaction. For I enjoy the effort towards enlightenment. Enlightenment I don't bother. Again I will get entangled, again I will get liberated. So the struggle between these two, he said, is the most important that Buddha told to everybody. Never stop your struggle. Struggle is everything in life.
Yeah, also I would just say, there is no goal to enlightenment. In fact, there's one teaching about this journey, that actually enlightenment is right here in this room right now. We just can't see it. We're just a few degrees away from enlightenment right now. So there's no journey, actually, to get to enlightenment. So this irony of like wanting to go on a path to go find something that's actually right here in this room, in this moment, it's in the complete being of nowness.
So in that way, Buddha is the only teacher in this world who said that the struggle to get liberation is more important than the end in itself. He made such a statement that everybody is said to be a very great person. All others want to reach the goal and forget and sleep. Most of the Hindus also, once you get liberation...
That is precisely, probably every teaching says the same thing, is that you can carry on your journey, there is no destination.
Yes.
You don't have to reach anywhere because there is no end.
True.
You're not going to reach anywhere.
Yes.
So you just carry on your journey and along the way,
Yes.
just keep on improving yourself. But that is...
It's an evolving process.
It's an evolving
A
process.
natural evolving process.
Yeah.
Not
But this goes with the presumption that you started from being negative or a bad person.
And so just to add to this, since we're talking of journey and destination, we've done the length and breadth of India uncharted, precisely because of this, that there is no destination. And we can say in 17 years of traveling, probably, uncharted across India, and that means across rural India, not the suburban, etc. The basic goodness which you talk of, we've seen it umpteen times.
Oh, it's full of goodness.
In most distressing situations, one thought that this is like, we've seen human goodness flow out. So I don't know whether I was meditating at that time or whatever in that sense. And each time one has traveled without a destination, it's been more like an experience. And that's the way we look at life. There is an experience which is evolving itself to the next. I don't know whether it's meditative or otherwise, but it feels good. And as long as it feels good, I think I'll continue this way, because this is what is giving me not a kind of pyramid between which I have to fix my beliefs or understand life, etc. It's allowing me to explore and discover it my way, with all the fumbling and the jarring and etc., etc. But it's my way, and I feel happy that way. You know what I mean? It's not about a belief. It's about exploring myself and the way my mind is working and evolving, and fine. And sometimes it bumps me, sometimes it creates jarring experiences. But that's also being, as I see it today. I mean, so it's just maybe 5 years down the line I'll be doing what you're doing, perhaps, or maybe even sooner. I don't know. Touch wood.
What you've described is actually perfect. I mean, it's fun. I mean, that's exactly part of it, and it's relaxing. It's actually relaxing to who we are. And oftentimes, maybe you're not having this experience, but oftentimes, one of the challenges is that we don't know how to relax into who we are.
No problem.
It's like we've been traveling into the unknown, and along the way we have met so many beautiful,
Unbelievably simple, as you said, ordinary life people.
so many beautiful people we have met. I mean, you can't even, you don't expect anything and you get the best out of it.
Unbelievable experience.
I mean, they have nothing to do with us, but they have touched our lives.
And when you describe the meditation of just being, that's what those experiences, I was relating to it that way, that's what it was. Somebody came across, somebody gave a beautiful experience, one shared, and then moved to the next level and the next level, and here we are 17 years into beauty of basic goodness. That's the way I would...
It's like we were in a place called Kumarakom in Kerala, and the old lady of the house and the old man of the house did not understand English or Hindi. We did not understand Malayalam. But they had a granddaughter which was just about 6 or 7 years old, who went to an English school, who could understand both Hindi and English. So we would communicate with that small girl, who would communicate with the old grandparents and convey back. And that's the way we were communicating it, and the way we were treated. I mean, we were going to stay there, we thought just overnight, and we ended up staying 3 nights with them, and just next to the, what do you call it, the backwaters. And they were so good. In the morning they would cook breakfast for us, and unbelievable. We did not ask for it. Oh, this is for you. And one of the evening they said, no, you will have dinner with us tonight in the houseboat. We did not ask for it. We got it. I mean,
basic goodness
where do you find that kind of
abounds in
goodness?
India.
We have been brought up in cities where we have not seen this kind of goodness. But you go to ordinary places, go to small villages and towns.
And I would say that also, one other thing is that you don't have to go somewhere to get it either.
Oh, sure.
You don't have to go anywhere to actually get it. It can actually be when tonight you go home and you brush your teeth, and if you're brushing your teeth, or you're eating food, like there's no destination to go somewhere to actually feel this feeling. And so when we start to kind of like really appreciate those elements, those aspects, that's also kind of how we're working with our mind. And just kind of like, if we're there, if we're actually there, if we're settled, and we're actually being in that moment, those are also the experiences. So it's great that you're having these experiences outside, but it's actually every day, every moment. And so part of this, for a lot of people, most people we could say, many people in the world have a difficulty of just being. They're not just there. I myself, you can say whatever you want as a practitioner, I still have a difficulty maintaining that presence of being on a consistent basis for more than, like, say, just a few minutes. So I can't say, even as a meditator, that I'm actually a great meditator in terms of I don't have that kind of awareness on a practical, day-to-day, moment-to-moment element. And that's okay, but that's also kind of what this path is, that really mindfulness and settling and actually being can actually happen on a moment-to-moment basis. And if that is my aspiration, then these teachings actually are there. There's a whole lineage of teachings that can actually help us to do that. But that takes what we call exertion. It takes some sort of effort to do those kind of practices. Which is not to say that what you're talking about isn't absolutely wonderful and beautiful and valid. Absolutely. And it is great. It is wonderful. And also, there is this other element of, like, how do I meet the world and be as much as possible? How can I do that on a moment-to-moment basis? How can I maintain that?
That's setting a goal. Sorry, Tushin, we go on this. That's like setting a goal. How do I get better? It's setting a goal.
Or, instead of using a term like goal, it's just a matter of
Who are practicing their religion thoroughly, I mean, without doing anything else, the fully practice of religion and teaching to the others. They have a goal set for themselves that, okay, we are going to teach this to somebody else. But we are ordinary people who live within this world. We have so many things to do to make a living. Because for them the living is provided when they are teaching. So within this living, how to make that life
non-jarring.
Non-jarring, okay. Is that what I mean? Everything should come out of the teachings of the lamas and the priests.
So, just to talk to that a little bit, it's really not about that external connection with the actual lama, priest, mullah, or anything else. You can be a good meditator and still be a good Hindu, a good Christian, a good Jew, a good Muslim. One is not required for the other. What we're talking about here, as far as a path of practice, is just learning how to kind of be by dropping.
Okay.
All of
This
the
is
extra
a different conceptually.
so it's not a concept. You understand? We're not talking about concept. So one point of this will be difficult to go on in a conversation about this because we're not talking about a conceptual relatability. if I develop mindfulness, if I develop a practice, it's not related to something else that I'm doing. It is just that I can be. And it's actually so simple. So there's a great quote, and I don't know who said it. It's an anonymous quote. And actually the Sakya uses this quote a lot. So I love it. It's a wonderful quote. It's kind of like what they say, it's like a paradox, right? And the quote goes something like this. There's different permutations of it, but something like this. Complexity has a very difficult time understanding simplicity, but simplicity has no problem understanding complexity. If you think about life from that point, we can see how complex our lives are, and how difficult it may be to work back into simplicity. But if we start to look at things from a very simple perspective, all the complexity of the world is very much understood by being simple. But how do we work ourselves back into being simple and having that simple approach?